Last time on Heartache 101, I got into a competition with Mickey to see who can get into a relationship in 101 days. I've been single, but she's been going on dates already. But she was only bribed to, so I guess that means I'm winning. There's a certain girl that I'm trying to win the heart of in our competition who I'm probably going to talk to soon. Because of a mistake I made in the competition, which was deciding to raise Mickey, being the unathletic guy I am, I tripped and fell on top of her by accident. Because of this, Riho thinks I'm some kind of pervert or something. Then later, when I was at the station, I found a note from somebody who claims to know me from somewhere. Thinking it was for someone else, I threw it in the garbage. And lastly, I got some help from Keika. She introduced me to Akari, who I had a 5-second conversation with. Lots of my footage got corrupted, so I'll do my best to recall the events that happened. Some stuff happened, and now it's the 49th day. I think I got another anonymous note. That's probably the only really important thing that happened then. Okay, not really. Other important things happened. Remember that part-time job I mentioned? Well, sometimes the lights are off and the player must sneak around and avoid being spotted by the delinquents. There's less toilet paper to clean up too. But like the normal part-time job gameplay, I cannot win. I just end up in a fight. On the topic of school, I was informed that Mickey and Riho were partners on an assignment that required tons of research, and the first thing I do is confront Mickey about her laziness. She then claims that she was actually working on the assignment, but I don't believe her. During those days that just happened to be lost footage, I find out more about Akari being the curious individual that I am. I found out that she was really depressed about something and made frequent trips to the hospital. I wasn't told exactly why though. I was only told that her father died and now she's depressed. I'm probably going to ask her about this stuff later. I got other stuff to cover because this game has just way too much story. Another thing that happened during the lost footage was I got to know Shihoko better and got Riho to not be so antagonistic toward me. I also found out that the two of them are sisters. I mean, it's kinda obvious. You can clearly see the resemblance, but my in-game character was too dumb to figure that out. Back on topic, I found the two of them in the hallway, and after Shihoko leaves, Riho mentions her sister's popularity. Then, after saying the right thing, she admits that her sister's popularity is bothering her. I can kind of relate. I really shouldn't have done this, but when I got to middle school, I pushed my brother's popularity far below mine. Of course, it helped that he already wasn't doing so well popularity-wise. Things were good at school and lots of people knew who I was. Then I got to high school and I soon realized that I felt less popular than I used to be. And in a strange twist of fate, my brother somehow managed to get popular there. I didn't let this bother me though. But the next year I had a bit of trouble with being accepting of myself, because I realized then that I wasn't really good at anything. At least I got over that once the summer came. I felt like I could actually breathe again. But I really shouldn't let popularity bother me. Returning to the game, Riho tells me a bit about her relationship with her sister. The two get along well, unlike most siblings. They're not normal. They must be witches. Burn them! Kill them to death! This, however, I cannot relate to. My brother is always starting things that shouldn't be started, and my sisters always find a way to annoy me. The conversation soon ends, and I would go somewhere else at school. Back to the situation with Akari, I found her outside at school making motions with her hands. I know what you're thinking, you perverts. I approach her so I can ask her what the heck she was even doing. But before that, I mentioned her deceased father. Apparently, it wasn't much of a shock that he died. He was depressed. It must be genetic. Then I asked for some details about her depression. I normally wouldn't pry into this kind of thing, but for some reason Akari is willing to talk about it. She says that nobody understands her. She gets a bit frustrated and leaves when I tell her that they're trying to help. I soon met with her counselor, who reports that nobody has made any progress at all. He then tells me about her habits, rearranging chairs, plastering windows and mirrors, and nailing dresser drawers shut. I'm eventually able to meet with Akari to discuss these things. She's pretty vague about it at first. Then she mentions waking up to seeing someone in the middle of the night just creepily watching her for no reason whatsoever. The conversation got interrupted by the counselor, and I had to leave. As luck would have it, I would meet with her before school a couple days later. Unfortunately, I was kind of creepy about how I approached her, and the friend she was with. Akari wasn't pleased, despite saying it was okay that I unintentionally startled both of them. Once that's out of the way, she introduces me to her friend, Hinami. I hadn't seen her around until then. She says that it's because she's never at school, and I will get more details on that later. One thing I'd like to comment on before moving on is how her theme song sounds like it belongs in a Sonic game. At least to me it does. But it really fits her personality. Speaking of personalities, Akari and Hinami have two completely different personalities, and they're somehow friends. After all of the introduction stuff is out of the way, I approach Akari later and ask about the guy that's been stalking her or something like that. According to Akari, this guy is the ghost of an about 60-year-old man. Then we actually go into some more detail about her habits. What she says isn't exactly easy to believe, and she knows that I don't entirely believe her claims. But I'm worried, at least. That's all for now, and if you liked what you saw, there's a like button on this page. If you think my word is good enough, how about subscribing if you haven't? If you want to see more by me, just click one of the videos here. And if you didn't like it, I won't stop you from hitting that dislike button. They're not normal. They must be witches. Burn them. Kill them to death.